I'm Barrie Herrold, and this is episode 1 of Towers of the Sea in a new format, which I'm going to do as a audiobook style. I kind of started this whole podcast as a poetry and songwriting idea, but I think I want to expand it into my Towers of the Sea series, which is going to be kind of based around the idea of turning it into either a game or into a Netflix series or maybe an animation. But I think this kind of podcast, the idea of it is just to expand the idea and just keep coming up with a story for it. And then once I've formulated the story, then I can move further forward with it. But I think this is kind of the best format for coming up with the ideas and getting out there with a smaller audience. So I'll be posting these monthly as shorter episodes. I think every episode will be around 7 to 10 minutes. Of just a short segment of the story, and I'll just keep going until I run out of ideas, basically, is my plan for the future of this. And I'll just keep putting stuff out and just see what happens, basically. Episode 1. Finn sat in his favourite seat in his old cabin, overlooking a crumbling boat ramp nestled in the corner of a horseshoe bay. The sky was gloomy and overcast, but his past life seemed a million miles away. Almost 5 years to the day since the last time anyone ventured out to see him. He was an odd curiosity for the first couple of years, but then it got weird, or he stopped trying to fit in and couldn't pretend to laugh along at their bad jokes and work stories. It all seemed so important to them, ticking off boxes and trying to impress each other with all their stuff. He was a marketing executive in his old life. He'd feign excitement for campaigns and deadlines, keeping up with the rest, but always slipping behind with every year that passed and every relationship that didn't pan out. Not for the lack of trying, but more for a lack of whatever it is you're meant to have that pushes everyone else forward. There was one that was the real thing, better than any simulation or DNA sequence match, a real human encounter. They met at a career allocation seminar, where a small number of jobs were given to those with enough credits. They talked briefly about the weather and boring things that didn't need to mean anything, just a string of words connected by a longing to connect. After a few more chance encounters, they grew a real bond, like two atoms orbiting each other for a moment. It wasn't to last. Her illness was one that was quick and cruel, taking away any hope of recovery with each passing day, until there were no more. 2 excited beeps from a delivery drone startled Finn from his seat. He walked outside and picked up a package left on the front step. Once inside, he placed it on the kitchen table and opened it. An automated message announced, "This is the Halo Mirror 48. Make any dream come true." Another promotional gimmick. They're always trying to send him things like this, since he was one of the few not connected to the great consciousness. It was meant to be a higher state of being beyond anything thought humanly possible. But it was a trap the whole world fell into. A thick, sticky human roach trap that no one could escape. He paid for his independence, restricted to certain shops and conveniences. Travel was possible, but not worth the hassle of gathering enough credits to pay off every border guard and overzealous cop. His weekly allocation barely paid the bills, but it was better than the alternative. Here he could breathe and eat whatever he wanted. The Zone 3 store was usually stocked with things most higher zones had never seen in their lives. The great consciousness wasn't concerned with threes, so they didn't check what was supplied. It was just a backwater settlement for those unwilling to comply. The package stayed on the table for a few weeks. Finn looked at it every day, but would stop himself from touching it. Most of the other packages were either thrown at the delivery drones or kicked to the road to be ground into pieces. This one felt different. He didn't want to smash it, but couldn't bring himself to try it out. Until one night, he had had a few glasses of whiskey and said, screw it." There was a mirror downstairs in a room that hadn't been used in years. He walked gingerly down the steps like he was carrying an unexploded landmine and turned the lights on in the small room. It had a queen-size bed, an old writing desk, and a dresser with an ornate mirror. Setting the device down carefully, he backed away and pressed the remote to turn it on. A message projected from the mirror, as if floating in front of him, said, "You are not connected. Would you like to proceed anyway?" Finn impatiently swiped yes, and was met by soft acoustic guitar music and an image of a mountain stream. The soothing voice instructed, "Close your eyes. Let your imagination take you to a place you most desire. Your dreams are only a thought away. Let them find you." Finn closed his eyes for a while. After feeling a bit stupid, he opened them, and was immediately startled with the image in front of him. Adele! It was her. She smiled like she had been waiting for him to notice her. This was too much. Finn threw a sheet from the bed over the mirror and ran for the door. That's the end of episode 1. Check back next month for episode 2 of Towers of the Sea by Barrie Herrold.